Dodge That Bullet Podcast. This is Adam. I'm here with my boy Finch.
What's up?
Mrs. Finch. Bethany. Joining us once again. Dawn is witnessing. She's here.
Witnessing history.
She might be our Google person. I think we've done that before.
Checker.
Yeah.
I need fact checkers, apparently. I've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of bots invading my life right now.
Well, I mean, everybody on Twitter is a fact checker.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Because whatever you have to say, that's fact.
Yeah.
You know.
Or false, depending on which side you're on.
Yeah. Well, everybody else is false.
Yeah.
You're always right.
Yeah.
You know.
How'd you know?
I mean, what? That's everybody. You know.
I'm kidding.
You're not special here, Bethany. No.
Who's on first?
So, I guess we'll start out with some a COVID update because we've talked about that a few times. I mean,
yeah, I hadn't addressed it on your podcast. I went back and listened to like the last one I was on, and you were like, "We gotta say we're sorry." I was like, I'm not saying I'm sorry.
Oh, about yeah, we're just like
that's when it looked like it was
our bad.
They were like, yeah.
No, I think we owned up to that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
You can't say we were wrong by saying there was a money grab.
I don't care about being right or wrong.
Right, I don't either. But you can't say we were wrong by insinuating that part of all this going on is a money grab when the largest redistribution of wealth in the history of mankind took place as soon as they had a reason to do it.
I think right now, if you took a poll, that'd be an interesting Twitter poll. I mean, like, yeah, it's the real deal. People have died, but is that all that there is to the COVID-19? I think it would probably be in the 80, 90 percentile of people that believe that, yeah, there's something sinister behind this. You know,
or people they're just taking advantage of the situation,
right?
You know,
not letting a crisis go wasted. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, I saw today Arkansas is creeping up on 20,000 confirmed cases.
Yeah. Been testing folks.
Yeah. One thing I saw that's pretty funny is a lot of people are giving Trump crap because he says, well, we got so many numbers because we're testing so much more. And it's your brother-in-law said something the other day. What did he say? You might have to look that up, but it was funny.
It's so hot out there because there's so many thermometers.
Oh, yeah. It gets hot during summertime because we've got a lot of thermometers.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
So, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Ain't wrong.
I don't know. This stuff, it's kind of hit. I still don't know how, like, a positive, we're treating a positive test. It's a statistic.
Right.
We're treating it like it's just this traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Like a death sentence almost.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, well, it's almost like people throw that number out there, 20,000 in Arkansas, and it's like, how many deaths? Like around 400 or 500, something like that.
I don't know. I stopped paying attention.
Right, and the only reason I know 20,000 is because I saw it on Facebook earlier.
It's the new HIV. You know.
Yeah.
As far as like the fear factor.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like from a health scare stance, that's the last time because we've had swine flu and H1N1 and different forms of coronavirus that have attacked in recent years, and people are just like, it ain't no worse than the flu, you know, whatever. So, but, I mean, my mom works at I guess it said it was the largest state-run assisted living facility in Arkansas. And they went from, in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, they went from 5 cases to 90. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's real, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever like thought that it was completely manufactured disease. You know what I mean? Like completely made up. Whenever you are critical of how all this came about, that's what people hear.
Or you just ask for more information.
Right.
You know, or hey, let's be a little sensible with the information we're getting. You know what I mean?
Because we don't know.
Right.
I mean, it looks like it might have been. I said manufactured. It looks like it might have been tampered with. But you can't even talk like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was that Brett Weinstein that said that?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are putting their careers on the line by asking these questions.
Yeah.
And these are people that actually have a little bit of knowledge in the
They're
arena.
smarter than we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he basically said it was basically a virus to test antibodies or vaccines on.
Right.
And it had been.
He's not the only one that said this either.
Right. That's just where we heard it, or where I heard it.
Yeah.
But that it had been re-engineered somehow.
Yeah.
And then however it got loose, whether it was the monkeys that got loose in there playing with the vials.
That was a different deal, wasn't it? Or was that a COVID deal?
I think it was a COVID deal.
There's so much freaking information I can't keep up.
No, monkeys actually got loose in the lab and had vials of COVID.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I thought the most interesting thing that he pointed out about the whole deal was the fact that it looks like it's way worse indoors than it is outdoors. And he said that sometimes this stuff will adapt to a laboratory environment.
Yes,
So
I do remember him saying that.
That was like the main thing that he said, and I was like, that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was tested in a laboratory environment, then of course it's going to do a lot better in the environment that it was born in.
That makes me wonder how fast this thing can adapt and mutate.
Right. That's the X factor right now.
Yeah, because then, they're talking maybe a vaccine by the end of 2020. Well, 2 weeks later, that vaccine may be irrelevant.
Yeah. Speaking of vaccines, where's your boy Bill Gates been? He just boop, disappeared.
No, they dropped a little heat on him when he started wanting to put the mark of the beast in everybody. And,
right.
He just
we better chill on this for a minute.
He's like, I've got all this money. I don't need this nonsense.
Yeah.
Or he's behind the scenes just negotiating deals to manufacture all this stuff so he can just, I don't know.
Doing his part.
Yeah.
In the Clone War.
Yeah. He's
Because that's what it feels like to me. It's
he's
we're in the prequels.
He's
Cool.
he's looking for Jar Jar to appoint the next Supreme Chancellor.
Yeah.
But maybe he'll pick that guy that was Epstein's power of attorney.
I don't know.
That worked for him.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. It's all connected. Speaking of which, real quick, don't mean to derail.
No, keep going
on the COVID update.
No, you're good.
But how awesome was it that you posed some interesting questions to your employer, and I just did a quick search on the large corporation that you work for. And come to find out,
thank God nobody listens to this. But you can keep going.
You won't. I mean, I haven't.
No,
named
I'm not worried. Go ahead.
The corporation you work for.
You're gonna need to be looking for another job on Monday.
That actually employed the Podesta group to lobby for them after a series of lawsuits in Pennsylvania. Those Podestas, yeah.
Yeah, and I tried to go down that rabbit hole, and dude, our CEO is super conservative. But the Podesta
doesn't matter.
I'm just got red team, blue team ingrained in me so much. I mean, they've got me that much that I can't.
You can't see how
I know
they can be working together.
I know they're all on the same team.
Yeah,
but
I think that proves it.
Yeah, that's
on a micro level, on something that's real to you for a company that you work for,
right?
There is no red team, blue team. It's purple team, y'all. Yeah. They mixed up and made the purple drink, and everybody drank it, and now everybody thinks that they're have the what? Bethany's cringing over here.
That purple drink.
She's cringing. Yeah. But, I mean, I lost my train of thought there. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing, though. Just a quick little, I spent literally 30 seconds and was like, because I knew that if I looked long enough, it'd be the same names coming up. The same characters, the same actors keep coming up over and over and over and over again. And how long is that going to happen before people wake up and be like, oh, they all are on the same team?
I don't know. You would think as woke as everybody's trying to be right now.
Right.
I mean, more people's eyes and ears would be open to things like that.
Right.
But no, I mean, I just did a couple of Google searches, and like our CEO gave a chunk of money to George W. Bush and did an interview about why he was donating to Bush, you know.
Yeah.
But then,
if you're donating to Bush, you might as well be donating to Clinton because they work together down here in Mena, right in our backyard.
True. Yeah. But then, like, I mean, you're not wrong. But then another search just shows that we gave like they gave the Podesta group like, I mean, I want to say it's like $3 million.
Yeah.
But that was like in 2009 or something like that.
Right.
So I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, I guess, but then the Podesta group, there were some changes in leadership here and there. I don't know if it went. No, that's more recently. That was in like 2018 or something.
Huh.
But
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's
whatever. It's whatever team philosophy, the red-blue paradigm, the march keeps heading us in the same direction. Or whatever.
Yeah,
and you have to utilize whatever said party's stance is on an issue to get the job done. And that's why they employed the Podesta group in your company's particular situation, was because that was the team that was going to help them pay these guys off, okay, and then get it all swept under the rug and get it taken care of.
What was going on in Pennsylvania?
I don't remember this. Like I said, I spent like all of 30 seconds looking at this.
Let's make all this stuff specific enough so we ensure that I lose my job pretty soon.
Well, I mean, at this point, no. Does it really? I mean, you can lose your job for any. I mean, well, that's yeah. So that's up to you.
Yeah.
How specifically you want to get.
Moving on.
Yeah.
But no,
do you like your job?
That brings
I like my paycheck.
That brings me to what I wanted to talk about. Was this is how you just censored yourself in fear of losing your job?
Not really, but
it's something you have to think about.
I mean, it does cross your mind.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is going to be content that we're putting out in the wild, and anybody anywhere can come across it at any time.
Right.
So I mean, I haven't said anything that would get me in. I've just asked a couple questions.
I don't know, man. You have to ask a lawyer. I mean, once their lawyers get involved, they could pick apart what you said.
Yeah, well, they can deal with the Podesta group, apparently.
Yeah.
But, like, no, I see what you're saying, though. It's kind of like, but I don't know. That speaks to the state of the way things are going right now, because it seems like half the country is on the attack and the other half is on our heels.
Right.
I mean, I say on our heels. I'm not trying to defend anything. I'm just trying to get by,
Yeah.
But, but I'm sure not one of those that are out there on the attack, and that's not saying that I'm against any of the change that's going on right now, but that don't mean I'm exactly 100% for a lot of it either.
Yeah.
I mean, things are going to change. Things should change.
They always do.
A lot of things need to change.
Yeah, we're not conservative. When people describe themselves as conservative, I can't describe myself as conservative because
no, I don't either.
I feel like that we have progress to be made, but it doesn't matter for the radical left. That's not good enough. I've already been told what team I'm on anyway.
Right.
It's like they have their little Marxist Leninist postmodern whatever they want to however you want to describe it. Ideology, and the rest of us are far right. I'm a straight white male. I mean, I shouldn't even be talking about this. According to them, that's what that you kind of made my point a minute ago. It's like it does affect us, and it's time for us to start saying stuff and to start speaking up and being like, what you're doing is wrong.
I've seen a lot of people saying things like that.
Yeah.
And I can't. I'm not sure if they're trolling. Some of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of them they've picked their side. So.
For me, it's not about picking a side. It's about.
No, I'm saying like a lot of these people that are saying it's time for us to speak up. Well, they've picked their side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
you're talking about people with large audiences and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely some
they're protecting themselves.
Going on there.
There you go. That's a good word for it.
But I guess the main question is how did we get here? I mean, literally, I
think a good explanation I've heard for it is a lot of this stuff, a lot of the way a lot of these people are acting, and I'm not talking about protesters, and I'm not using this as a disclaimer either, but I guess I kind of am, but I'm talking about people that are wanting to tear down statues of Lincoln that were commissioned and paid for by freed slaves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like we've gone to that extreme to some extent. And what I've heard is a lot of these people, they've been acting like this on college campuses for years.
Yeah.
And nobody's done anything about it.
Well,
nobody's educated them. They just kind of let them run free.
Yeah.
To where it's like you get that one ultra progressive way of thinking, and then you just feel like you can just burn through everything. Yeah. And it burnt through the college campuses. And a lot of these kids I still call them kids, but
right.
A lot of these people, they're older now.
Out in the workforce.
Yeah. And they're out in society now. They're not, they're not in a dorm room going to class every day.
Right.
And it's like now it's kind of grown out of the campuses and into the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one way of saying that's how we got here.
Right.
And another way,
it's a pretty genius way to divide and conquer, because identity politics, what it does is automatically puts you on a team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if me and you were you got labeled on social media this week.
I did.
Yeah. I mean, just because you had a.
Oh, I did. Yeah, you're right. I totally forget about that. Do you see how much attention I pay to that? I'm like, whatever, dude.
No, I know.
And
you're but I mean, I'm bringing that up as an example,
right?
Because it's like you made one statement that didn't go along with that that way of thinking. Yeah. There you go. And
the narrative.
You were labeled a Trumper, and so that's basically what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And
if you noticed, also he had nothing but scripted responses.
Right. Yeah.
He wasn't even reading and engaging in a conversation, which that platform's terrible for having a conversation anyway. So it's kind of like why we're wasting time here.
Yeah.
But
so is Twitter, so is texting.
Yeah. But he absolutely. I mean, I told him, I was like, dude, the way you're responding just seems scripted and almost like a coping mechanism. I don't know. I mean, have a great day, man. I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's got a good heart, but
nothing against the individual that just
at the same time,
I'm just describing the situation.
Right. Yeah. He does seem to kind of like just pop in and, nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trump supporter, vote blue. It's like, dude,
But then you feel bad.
What?
Well, not feel bad. But then it's like,
oh, I had you and other people messaging me like, man, don't worry about it. You know how he is and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, guys, I'm not going to go thermonuclear on him. Like, y'all were scared that I was fixing to,
You've been saying for a while you're trying to get banned. I was like, here it comes.
That's his goal.
Yeah.
Like,
no. My goal is to get banned telling the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not just, everybody wants to win. I want to own the libs or I want to own the conservatives. Right. And it's like, no, I mean, like, let's I'm trying to tell the truth, the best I can, because it's a strange thing.
Everybody else is more worried about just making sure your point gets put out there.
Yeah.
Instead of just having a back and forth with somebody else.
You just got nuked, bro. You know, I mean, yeah, that wasn't, you know, that shouldn't be the. I think that I had the people messaging me were like scared that that's what we were getting into, and I'm like, no, relax. That's not what this is about.
Man, I mean, I guess in different circumstances, I'd just let you go. I'd, you know.
That's kind of what I left.
Get your popcorn, you know. Yeah. I was like, Finch is about to, you know.
Some people were. They did. I mean, that was a pretty good thread, you know. But my sister-in-law, she popped in there and she did the whole popcorn gif, you know. So, my whole thing is I was just trying to.
I don't remember what the original point you made was. I was trying to explain
to him where I was coming from as a person defending free speech.
Right.
That's how it all got started. It was the comment, "Hey, let's just nerf the world," you know, because you know I make the video game analogy about the realm we exist in all the time, you know, and it's just like gaming. It seems like, you know, the mods of this game are catering to casuals, and it's ruining the game, you know. So
that's a very good comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. Let's just nerf the world so nobody gets their feelings hurt ever again.
Yeah. You know?
What do you think, Bethany? Yeah. Is that what you think?
Yep. That's what I think.
How many times a day do you ask him, like, what does that mean? When he's like, oh, they just nerfed it. Like, what is it?
Ask.
She doesn't. She just rolls her eyes.
Yeah.
I go, maybe.
She's the Robert Downey Jr. meme, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, rolling her eyes, just like
I do ask questions sometimes. I don't keep up with it all. I truly do not care about half of this junk that's going on. I don't.
Well, that's consent. That's consent to all the bad stuff that's been happening.
Maybe.
I mean, you know.
Wasn't that the phrase? Silence is consent.
Silence is
violence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. That's what I've heard, but
I don't know.
I don't know the answers.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, this morning John came in. I've slept like 2 hours in 3 days, but I was working overnight and at my desk, and John came in this morning. He said, I've pretty much decided the only two things that'll get all this back on track. One is the coming of the Lord, and the other one is an alien invasion.
Yeah. So I'm looking for the fake alien invasion right now.
Yeah.
I've heard a few people call that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little disappointed because I mean, there was a rumor out there that we're going to get some information about extraterrestrials.
Full disclosure.
Sometime in June.
Yeah.
Is what the word was. Mm-hmm. And we haven't got it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we got another week.
Well, my vote's for Jesus. Yeah. I just prefer that. Every day I'm like, today around lunch should be fabulous.
Yeah.
I have a lunch date with the Lord. But honestly, at this point, I'd take aliens for $200, Alex.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be worse, right? Should I even dare say that out loud?
I think I need to adapt that attitude. Like when I get to work and I've just got a really big customer that I don't want to deal with, I can just look up and be like, now would be a really good time. Just
look at the camera in the sky.
Yeah. All the non-believers can come in here and find their uniforms and mine because I'm gone.
Right.
Dibs.
Yeah.
Just gonna fade out. Throw up that deuce and fade out.
What was that? Made me think of what was the dude? And you saying chicken butt earlier? What was the dude on King of the Hill that died in the propane blast?
I don't know.
Yeah. You didn't watch King of the Hill?
I don't remember who died in the blast.
No.
It was Luann's boyfriend.
Luann?
Yeah.
I don't know,
man.
And he's the one that made the "What's
Google
up,
check.
chicken butt" thing famous. So that went nowhere. Back to the COVID stuff.
All right.
So there's a lot of criticism on states that they're saying open too early, but there's spikes in places like California and places like that too that shut down and just now reopened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lucky Kleinschmidt.
So
That's his name.
I've had people tell me, well, population density is a factor. It is a factor.
It is.
To an extent.
Yeah. But they locked down hard, and then they had all the protests on both sides. And
See, that's my
You know,
deal. Like, they locked down, really. I mean, like, especially California. Like, Gavin Newsom was, like, basically, I mean, he was one step away from martial law there.
yeah,
Is that dude Nancy Pelosi's son-in-law?
I don't know. I don't care.
Isn't he?
That's California, man. Good luck, fool. You know, good luck, fools.
Yeah. But
That's like seriously part of the. I mean, the West Coast like now is like, to me. I mean, honestly, I look at them and I'm like, oh, it's CCP country. You know what I mean? Like, to me, they've already aligned themselves with China. So
really,
yeah.
just like economically,
I mean, do you not kind of see it?
I mean, I see it in a lot of ways. Just, I mean, yeah, well, especially all the stuff that's going on in Seattle right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have they broke that up yet?
I don't think so. I haven't seen where they did.
I don't think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw where the guy got shot the other night wants to sue the police for not showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or like in Minneapolis, they disbanded the police.
Yeah, they just did that. Yeah, put it 12-0.
Yeah.
No more cops.
And then they disbanded the police, and then they tried to replace it with like community volunteers or something, and then they had a shooting, and the meme or the hashtag was send in the volunteers.
Yeah.
But
No thanks.
Now you're going to get a privatized police force in there. You know.
which we've been fighting against privatized prison system, and now you want to privatize the police.
That just shows it's like peak hypocrisy. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the police department, which needs reform. You know, not going to argue that.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the social programs that we have is pure socialism, and yeah, y'all got rid of a socialist program. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it hadn't dawned on them either that basically they've got corporate sponsorship, because every one of the largest corporations on the planet has gotten behind, for a PR standpoint, behind the movement. I mean, I know, and people are actually funding that. George Soros behind the scenes, so
Yeah.
It hadn't dawned on them yet that it's just like, oh, we went from eat the rich to, oh, we're sponsored by them,
Yeah. Or they're tearing down targets and things like that to make a statement.
Right.
But then again, on the other hand, it's kind of like if these companies don't fall in line with all that, then they call them out on social media.
Yeah. Target just made so much money on that store.
Have you?
It's quadruple dipping.
Yeah. Have you read anything into like all the Act Blue stuff? So apparently Act Blue is like they process a lot of the donations that go to Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Which.
Oh, yeah, I have heard about this, yeah.
And then Act Blue, just as I don't know if the name Act Blue, like, is literally, they're basically like funneling money to the DNC. Like 3 or 4% right off the top, whatever they take in,
It's a fine idea.
I mean,
I'm all for it. It's great. It goes back to that just totally not thinking, not looking at things critically at all.
Yeah, or how many people that are donating?
We're so anti-establishment. We're going to give money to the guy funding this and in his interests.
Yeah, yeah.
This billionaire. Billionaires are evil. We're going to give money back to billionaires. That's how.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Or how many people how many people that are donating because maybe they do believe in the defund the police movement, but then that organization has been stated as, it's basically its ideology is Marxism.
Yeah.
They've openly said we're trained Marxists.
Yeah.
That's the kind of direction that they're trying to push their agenda in.
That's the direction they're trying to push the world in. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that they've looked at China and said that that's the best business model that we're all going to run with, whether you like it or not.
Who's they?
I don't know. It's they. It's always they.
Yeah.
They. Add as many echoes as you want. It's whoever's the hidden hand behind this system that we all participate in. You know what I mean? It's whoever you want to say. I mean, I'm not like most people. I don't believe. I believe on an individual level, there's people out there that believe that they're doing the right thing from their their stance on certain issues. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, these guys are so good at manipulating the system that they put in place that they win no matter which direction it goes.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that they would see China as like the model.
Wow.
Just because of not capitalism, but there's not going to be very many people at the top of that pyramid. You know what I mean?
We don't have capitalism. True capitalism.
Right,
we wouldn't have a private bank making our money.
Right. Or setting interest rates or
right.
No,
most people don't even understand the banking system.
Yeah.
So if they did, there would be a real revolution tomorrow.
But I would think
fractionalized lending is just like it's slavery. I mean,
consumerism drives production, which that provides jobs, which provides tax dollars.
Yeah.
And but if you have a job and you spend money, then that provides sales tax. You know what I mean? So why would they try to get away from consumerism? To go
China. I mean, they're
well, yeah, they are the largest manufacturer of goods and things like that, and yeah, they're a strange brand over there. I mean they are kind of they're definitely communist, but at the same time, there is definitely an idea, like a very healthy consumer way of life over there. Because if there wasn't, then so much of the stuff being produced here and so much of the entertainment being made and stuff wouldn't be skewed to where it doesn't upset the Chinese audience. Because there's a lot of money to be made over there too, as much as there is to be made over here, honestly.
Yeah. If I had to choose a word to describe who's they, it's the term that's been used that I like the most is technocrats. It's kind of like when the COVID-19 thing, going back to that, went down. Bill Gates just starts coming out here and talking to us like from a position of authority, right?
Yeah.
That ought to tell you he's got a lot of more control than you ever thought that he does. I mean,
yeah,
it's them. It's just Epstein was in on that. It's all connected. It all goes back.
Epstein was funding a lot of that stuff through other people.
Epstein wasn't funding. I mean, he was getting money from other guys and giving them.
That's what I mean. A lot of these people, and I've heard it explained this way: if they had projects that they needed money for, they couldn't get it through certain means, or they couldn't get grants or things like that.
Yeah.
So they would go to a guy Epstein, and he knew where to get the money for that.
Right.
Because he had tapes of them hooking up with 15-year-olds.
Right.
So it's like, I need $200 million by Tuesday, or that, So funny how that works. But
And these were all these people that's why I like the term technocrat, because all these people and these are the people that we know dealt with him. They were highest officials in government. They were actual, aristocrats like princes, and they were also tech giants.
Yeah.
So technocrat's a real good term to describe this elite class that is running the show.
Yeah, apparently our Epstein podcast went a lot deeper than
I watched that.
than the
Netflix
Netflix
series.
thing. And I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard that it,
Go ahead and go over it. I mean, they focused mainly on the girls, and it was good, but like they were definitely coming from a place of bias, like
a lot of the stuff that happened in Miami.
Yeah.
Doesn't that one girl live in Australia now or
Yeah.
something like it? Yeah. Yeah, I read up on her quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
They totally glossed over his connection with people in the scientific community.
yeah, and that's probably the
weirdest
that
part.
made him who he was.
Yeah.
I mean, or that kept him at that level even after his conviction in 2008. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's like he came out just a few months later or whatever. I can't remember the exact amount of time. Did he even do any time?
Dude, nobody gets a deal like that. Nobody.
No, they were meeting with him
Yeah.
while he was doing. No, he would go in to jail during the day, and it was basically like he was showing up and going to the office.
Yeah.
And then of an evening, he'd just go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody that he's involved with got immunity.
Yeah.
So I think we had it backwards. We said that Maxwell worked for him. I think he worked for Maxwell.
Yeah, because they still hadn't touched her.
No.
I mean, they can't even find her right now.
She's chilling in Israel.
Yeah.
She's a Mossad asset.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, if you want more of that, we got an Epstein episode in the timeline somewhere. Look it
We'll
up.
put it in the description.
Yeah. Something that's near and dear to your heart, our boy Elon Musk kicked off the new meme war this week.
Yeah. Him and other folks.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of been waiting on the beginning of the second great meme war. So it ought to get pretty good. I've already got some good material.
I think John actually did a jig when it kicked off.
Yeah.
Came skipping through the
I
house.
love Elon.
At the very least,
Wasn't
just
that a great tweet, though?
a solid fist pump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, about every 2
It was
weeks,
a good solid.
Elon will drop something, and it's just like
Mind blowing.
that's why you're smarter than the rest of us.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, but it's right. I mean, he who controls the memes controls the universe. I mean, because it has such a deep psychological impact, as it really does. I mean,
does. I thought
you couldn't believe it. You still kind of don't believe it. Like,
well,
the
I just
magic.
thought when they were talking about tampering with the 2016 election and all that,
Yeah.
and they were like, they did it with memes.
It was Russian bots. It's like, no, it was me. It was guys like me. We did it for free.
John's the reason
Yeah.
that the 2016 election got
guys
tampered.
like, kids, old guys. I mean,
Anybody with sense of humor?
yeah. I mean, because comedy. I mean,
Any
that's why.
sarcastic
and a couple-
guy out there.
That's why
If
it's so
you've got
important.
a sense of humor and you know how to run a couple apps, you're good.
Yeah. But that's why it's so important, and that because and that's why comedy is so important right now, is because you got to be able to mock complete BS. You know what I mean? And yeah, the meme accomplishes that, and that's why the left, these guys can't meme because the place that they're coming through, whatever. Speaking of which, Bethany just showed me one. But
Don just sent it to me.
they know what they're trying to tell you and make you, and the words they're trying to make you say is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
They've adopted this thinking. They've been brainwashed.
Yes.
But you got to say the words, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
You got to say the words.
That's like the lady that there was an article, somebody said that they got an email from their boss, and it was basically like, your silence on this movement,
Yeah.
since you're not posting something on social media, that's very concerning. I don't know if she got fired or
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact details,
Kinda
but
remember.
That's beyond 1984 tier. That's thought police.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to what we were talking about if I've got a job Monday or not. Thank God we're so short-handed
Yeah.
right now. I mean, so I'm good for a little while.
Yeah.
But
That's one of the First Amendments. I mean, it's important. You know, freedom of, religion in the United States. First Amendment of the Constitution contains, you know, the most fundamental freedoms. It's freedom of speech, freedom of press, protest, which that's why I don't have a problem with people going out and protesting.
right.
You know, assembly and religion, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what's so odd. Is
Can we go back to church yet?
Yeah.
Can
I
we?
think so, yeah.
Well, I don't know, unless you're on one of the lists. There was a list posted yesterday, I guess, of all the churches in Arkansas that had contact tracing
Oh, yeah.
back to it. That was fun.
So they're contact tracing people through churches in rural Arkansas, but they're not contact tracing people that went to protest
Correct.
or people that, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is not
Back to the COVID.
some of the churches don't even know that. Like it was I think it was KRK that posted the list yesterday, and there were people that were members of the church. 2 of them were in BB, and they were like, "I don't believe anyone at the church has even been told this."
Yeah.
And so they're finding out on the news that their church is on this master list of tracing and contact and whatever.
Huh.
But there was like 49 churches in the state.
I know it wasn't ours because we're still shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't on there. I looked.
I mean, we were talking about reopening, but then this spike hit in the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of put that back on hold. We're still doing iPad church.
Yeah. So do you feel like, and you know me, I was critical of, I feel like the door should always be open no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the separation of church and state exists. You never needed permission to have the church open.
Right, and we don't.
I don't want to get on my soapbox on that because
Yeah. Well, I'm fixing it. I mean,
I got pretty black pilled over all these churches just okay.
yeah.
It's like is the government your god?
I mean, I've talked to our leadership, and I understand what their thought is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's why this is such a nefarious deal because it plays on your emotions.
But here's my deal. Just to take the government out of this altogether, why do we have to go to that building to have church?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Whoa, now, Adam, that's you're starting to sound like a change.
You
there,
are
boy.
moving cheese over there.
yeah, but like, I mean, I'm holding back here too because I don't want to get on my soapbox either.
Right.
But it's kind of like, man, so much of that stuff, it's like if you don't follow the rules and you don't teetotally go by the traditional church service model, by God, Jesus can't have nothing to do with this, you know?
Right.
So,
That being said, I mean, I also believe traditions are important
yeah.
to a certain degree. But you have to adapt to your situation, which is what you're fixing to have to do.
Yeah. And
Because it's under attack.
yes. But then I'm sitting here thinking, just for me personally, I'm like, man, how long have I took church for granted?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because how many Sunday mornings, and this has nothing to do with my pastor or leadership or, but how many Sunday mornings am I just there just because I'm supposed to be there?
Right.
You know? And yeah, I try and pay attention and try and get what I can out of the service. But then when you're involved with this and that, and then you're playing music and doing different things, and there's always something else to do, or there's always somebody else asking about this or asking about that, or you've got this meeting or that meeting, or I mean, what we've turned it into, it's almost just like, you know, would we not be better off meeting in living rooms? Would we not get more out of it? You know, a lot of people, they go back, the church vax, you know. Well, what did their temple look like? You know, they were sitting on dirt floors in people's houses, getting together and reading letters from the apostles, you know, or you know, being taught or whatever, you know, whatever was going on.
I've enjoyed both, honestly. I mean, our family got together at my mom and dad's, you know, during the whole shutdown. Our church has been back, I guess, 3 weeks with there's 3 different services, every other pew, 1 family per pew, everybody's wearing a mask. Communion is like individual in a baggie that you pick up on your way in. I mean, it's totally different, you know, and they don't want people to hug and high five and shake hands and stuff.
Yeah.
But
You're looking at me. I hadn't been back.
yeah, no, he ain't going. But it is nice seeing everybody. You know, that's been my part. I mean, we had a funeral right before everything opened back up. One of our young adults, I think she was 23, was murdered in our town, and
Wow.
we had her funeral.
Yeah, it kind of broke the floodgates.
Yeah, and there was probably 500 people at her funeral in our church building.
It was packed.
And the only people that had masks on were the people that were like helping
Telling
with
everybody else to put a mask on.
No. It was the first responders.
First
doing
responders funeral, so it was
gotcha.
a lot of pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I'm
anyway.
sorry if I was insensitive.
No.
For real. But
Yeah.
But that,
No.
that's
But
where
it
your mind goes.
was the people that were there with all the ceremonial side
Yes,
of it.
I gotcha.
And very few other people had masks on. And but that's the first time that a lot of us had seen each other since March.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody's hugging and my dad's one of the elders at our church, you know, and he was like, well, half the people here are cops, so I guess they're not hauling anybody away, you know. And as far as I know, no one's gotten it. Nobody's positive, so I don't know.
See, I kind of bristled at that. I'm like, I don't feel like we need permission to gather and worship God if you want to.
Right. No, I don't either.
Any way you see fit, whatever number you see fit.
Yeah. And I don't call me crazy, but it doesn't have to be under that traditional church model
in a pew
that we've been so ingrained with. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's in a lot of ways that's an American thing. That's not a church thing. It's not a Jesus thing. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah.
But
that's what I did like about the protest. I mean, people. You have to make a distinction between the protesters and the people there just
taking advantage of the situation.
People there just strictly to loot and riot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
those are two different things.
Right.
But the thing I admired about the protest was the fact that people got out there and did something.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of all this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's value to that.
I think a lot of people were in.
People are already going insane anyway. Turns out people need other people.
Yeah, people. We all need community in one form or another. Mm-hmm. You know. Yeah, and I think everybody was on such an emotional, like, what would you call it? I mean,
Tensions are still riding high.
Yes. Yeah. But I think like even
this scarred a lot of people up.
A lot of the good stuff that came out of that stuff, out of those protests, kind of got overlooked.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because like you said, tensions are still high. You know, 3 or 4 weeks
still
later.
high for a lot of different reasons. I mean, like Joe touched on this. I was listening to his podcast with Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
And he's got a buddy that's a sheriff in one of them counties out there in California, and said that their suicide rate has increased over 500%.
Yeah.
Since COVID-19, and they're starting to talk about this now, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, and it's just this.
Yeah, he said he would deal with like one every couple of weeks. Now it's like 2 or 3
once
a day.
a month. Yeah,
or something.
yeah, yeah.
Something like that. But
Now it's like 5 or 6. Just like boom, 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 boom. Boom. So, and that's I think if you're a person that was out there, had just gotten that job that you'd been working towards, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, this happens.
Yeah.
Or you're a business owner. And you've got everything riding on this. I think it's done damage to a lot of people that they'll never recover from in a lot of ways. So
It's kind of nuked my feelings. I don't have feelings anymore.
Really? Elaborate. It's the first time I've heard you say that.
I don't know. I feel like, like I just said earlier, I don't care about any of it. And it's, you and I have had conversations too.
That's the first time I've heard you describe it like that, though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I think at this point in this year, nothing else will surprise me. Like I said, either the Lord comes or aliens come. I'm like, whatever. Well, really, in the middle of all this, they declare, oh yeah, those UFO sightings, they're real. Nobody even flinched. Nobody got excited about it. Nobody
That was
cared.
before the riots, too.
Yeah.
That was
And the
before the
protests.
riots. That was in the middle of all the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh. And it's almost like everybody's just like numb to it.
Well,
And that's how I feel about all of this.
Which all that stuff we knew about. You know what I mean?
right.
I mean, we'd known about that for a couple years.
Yeah, to me that was a positive thing, though.
That it was mainstream?
Personally. Well, no, that so much stuff has been happening that people are actually starting to think outside of the box on things. I've seen a lot of people start thinking about things differently than they used to.
Yeah.
And so more and more and more about this system that we're in is becoming common knowledge, and I see that as a positive thing because even though it's getting ugly, I feel like once we're on the other side of it, there's going to be a lot of good. That's just what I think.
When you talk about the system we're in, though, I think it's shed a lot of light on who benefits the most from this system.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's not the working class.
No. It's not anybody, but
and
the
just
very tippy top.
The last 12, 15 years, we've really seen, really since 2008, we've really seen if things go bad, that's who's going to get taken care of.
Yeah.
And we know we're not on that. We're not part of that group.
We're not on the short list.
Just like George Carlin said, it's a party and we ain't invited.
Yeah. But what do we do about it? You know what I mean? We don't have any choice.
Tell the truth as best you can. Seriously, yeah.
But it's like when it comes,
you got to get brave. You can't worry about that job or necessarily offending that person or to navigate the chaos and admittedly I feel like that in a very very small way I'm not trying to take credit for the meme war. It's it's millions of us, you know what I mean, that seen where this is going and felt like that it needed to be accelerated, so we did our part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And now that we're in the period of chaos, I mean, what you have to do is when somebody says 2 + 2 = chicken, you tell them they're wrong,
Bok, baby.
But what we've heard a lot, especially through protests and stuff, and it's like, if you want change, how do you exercise your voice? How are they telling people to do that? By voting. We already talked about, they're on the same team. You know what I mean? You look at how much Trump and Pelosi hate each other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But
the message is clear.
But when Trump got in office, what'd he do? He cuts the tax rate
right
for the richest people.
Right.
And then when things really hit the fan and the House has to pass like some type of support bill so that the whole country doesn't economically implode, what does Pelosi and Schumer do? You know what I mean? They freaking, like we said, the largest redistribution of wealth in the history of this country. They're not...
They protect their interests.
On TV...
All those Republicans
they're not
that ran
on the same
for
team.
Repeal Obamacare. Got in there, could have done it. Would it happen? Didn't happen.
Yeah, they blame John McCain for that.
Right.
Why did it come down to John McCain?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get me fired up now because that's one of the reasons I voted for Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I, like, my paycheck felt the effects of the, air quotes, Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
It wasn't very affordable for me when I've got to carry a policy and pay for a policy so high that I'm basically paying out of pocket unless just some catastrophic event happens that costs me and my family more than like $6,000 out of pocket. That's the only way my insurance policy is going to benefit me. And that's all I could afford for years because of the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Is that right?
Shooting
No,
fireworks.
it's fireworks.
Oh, I thought that was like hail or something. But like,
It's annoying as hell.
yeah, I'm
wait till
glad.
next week.
I'm glad my neighborhood doesn't do that stuff.
Oh, it's going to be live around here. And I do
Yeah.
like it on 4th of July, but until then,
Until
knock that off.
about 10 o'clock. And
Yeah.
then
Get
10
Get my
o'clock,
shotgun out and
everybody
start
needs
blasting in the air.
Well, it's 8:45, so it's
Get the
just
cops
about
down here
dark.
from blasting my shotgun and be like, shut that down over there, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But no, back to my rant. Like, yeah, like why did it come down to John McCain? And the Republicans, I think Paul Ryan was in charge of
They've shown their true colors.
setting
throughout all
up
this
a
stuff.
new system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A better system. And they just kind of threw their hands up in there and said, oh, we can't do it. We're going home. And it's like, we put y'all in office. We're the constituency. Y'all are there to represent the people that put you in office, and you knew good and well that's what we wanted you to be there to do. And now you're just throwing your hands up and saying, oh, it's John McCain's fault. We're going home.
Yep. He took one for the team on the way out, didn't he? That's what he did.
We'll have to ask Tim Dillon about that.
He took one for the team on the way out.
Yeah. Well,
He knew he was dead.
no, I think he stood up. He stood up to the team, really. That was the whole deal. He didn't play ball. So they're going to crucify
Oh, you
him.
mean the red team?
Yeah.
No. I mean the overall team, not red, blue. I'm
Oh,
talking about the
okay.
people at the top. He took
See?
one for the team.
There
on the
I
way
go
out.
again, thinking
You gotta
red
break
versus
out of that.
blue. Yeah.
Got to break out of that.
Yeah.
See, and plus and even though they're using these people in this movement right now, what the movement has showed is that all this voting doesn't make
matter.
a difference.
Yeah.
If you want to gain political power in a hurry, take it to the streets. Because I've never seen anybody in my lifetime gain as much power as the people on the streets. As misguided as some of the people behind them are, not the people that are protesting for change that needs to happen, but for the political ideology that's behind, that's funding this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They know, they already know that that's how real change happens, and people get scared. So they're funding that. They're funding the chaos. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, can you not see how the situation's being manipulated? Bethany and Don over here speaking of memes, sharing memes. But they're not important. They're not,
They're hilarious, but I don't feel
Oh.
like that they're altering society, except for just to laugh.
They tell the truth.
Some of them.
Let's talk about George Soros.
What about him?
I'm kind of skeptical about. I know that dude has a ton of money
Yeah.
and a ton of influence,
Yeah.
but he's almost like the boogeyman to me, to where
Oh, he's like a Bond villain. He's actually the archetype for some Bond villains. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
But I guess I've just heard that name so much that I'm just like, oh, they're talking about Soros again.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's hard for me to take it seriously.
Yeah. Well, maybe what you're real good at is looking into stuff. So all I'm gonna tell you is, it's like if you want to do a George Soros podcast, George Soros deserves an entire podcast devoted to him.
We'll do that.
Do your homework on George Soros, and it's gonna be like the Epstein thing. You're gonna be like, dude, and I'm gonna be like, I know, right?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Like, yeah, I saw that 6 years ago, but yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean, I know the connections.
It's kind of my.
The connections are probably endless,
right.
You know,
no. Yeah, they are. But yeah, once you look into that, that's gonna blow your mind. That's gonna blow your mind harder than the Epstein thing.
I had somebody tell me, I won't buy. Was it? Oh, what's the Nissan place in Sherwood, in North Little Rock?
Jones.
No.
Am I thinking back in the 80s, Jones and Nissan is Isuzu?
I don't know, but
I can picture it, but I don't know the name.
Yeah. Dang it, they were one of my customers. Anyway, I've been told I won't buy cars from them because that's where George Soros gives them a bunch of his money. He buys all kinds of vehicles from that.
He just bought up a bunch of Blizzard Activision stock a while back.
Really?
Yeah, so I won't be going back to that game once the new expansion drops.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you need to look into that cat. I had Bethany watch one thing on him. Bethany, is he as big of a boogeyman as I paint him out to be?
Yeah, no, he is.
No, I believe it. Yeah. But it's just I think like the uninformed, the people that think they know meme culture and things like that,
yeah.
But really, I mean, they're just on Facebook all day.
Right.
You know,
they hadn't gone to the dark alleys.
They're the people that they're like, oh, it's George Soros, and then they think they're saying something that only they know about. You know what I mean? Like the people they're talking to don't know who this dude is,
right? And
so I get kind of dismissive about like, yeah, okay, whatever,
dude.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's why they had to get Alex Jones off the air because he talked about Soros all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he was one of the canaries in the coal mine. Jordan Peterson was another one. Weinstein and Joe Smart. Joe. And I know you didn't like that last podcast because he seemed like he's kind of catering to his guests. But Joe Smart.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just I'm kind of afraid when somebody signs a $100 million deal. I'm kind of afraid
he's going to be compromised.
Authenticity is going to go out the window. You know what I mean? We'll see. Time will tell. I hope not. But
I
don't even want to start talking about the things I'd do for $100 million.
I think Joe's been, my personal belief, and people are going to think I'm crazy, I think Joe Rogan has been involved with the CIA before.
You sound like...
He has.
Him and Sturgill. You've been talking to Wheeler Walker, ain't you?
No.
Him and Sturgill doing ops, man.
I'm just saying.
That Wheeler Walker deal, I know we've talked about it before. That's still one of my favorite clips of all time. That's amazing.
It's not off the table.
I mean, I guess not.
Joe's privy to a lot more information. I'm not saying he's an asset or he works for him or anything like that. I'm just saying he's got an awful lot of insight for just being a, comedian.
I think well, dude, think about the people he knows. But going back to the Wheeler Walker thing real quick, just YouTube Wheeler Walker Jr., Sturgill Simpson, CIA op.
Yeah.
Just look into it, and I'm sorry for the language on there, but you'll get a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about the people he's talked to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's what I'm trying to say.
He's kind of like a modern day Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
Like Cronkite had that type of knowledge and influence.
Yeah.
Just based on who he had talked to.
He's a strange character. He's a mixture of Walter Cronkite, Johnny Carson,
George Carlin.
Yeah, I mean he's the Joe Rogan experience.
He's not as funny
it's become
as Carlin.
just that. No. It's become an experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's had such a real powerful impact on our where we're at. More so than I think he even comprehends.
Right.
You know, I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he decided to smoke out and freaking talk to his friends, and then it turned into something.
Yeah.
You know? I remember back in the day at Tucson, you were one of the first people I knew that listened to that. And you came up and you were like, "Have you ever heard of ayahuasca?" And I was like, "Yeah." You knew exactly who to ask. You were like,
"Well, I know you'd been to other dimensions." So
yeah, but not that.
I've heard
deep.
those stories.
Yeah, not that deep though. You
know?
know?
No, the first one I ever listened to.
Sometimes I think I need to go in and be like, to ask some guidance. You know what I mean? Kind of like the boys did on Young Guns. Like I think.
Oh yeah, hey dog,
she's
you
going
see the size of that
she's
chicken?
going on a trip to Alabama with the girls here next month. So I'm thinking maybe
we need to go on a spirit walk. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you might not come back. So,
well,
something you need to you don't tread in intergalactic travels lightly.
What?
So anyway, we'll discuss that later. Don's looking at you like, what? You're going on a spaceship?
Make sure your life insurance is paid up before you leave.
Okay.
No, the first one that I ever listened to that really just got my attention to where I was like, holy crap. Like, this is the UFC guy, and this is the dude he's talking to. I can't remember the guy's
the Fear
name.
Factor guy.
Do what?
Oh,
the Fear Factor guy, yeah. But the guy he was talking to had written a book about how the mines, how a lot of their ruins, like basically he thought they'd use like alien technology to build a lot of that stuff. And then like you could go back even before the mines and
no,
you
they
could
just
find
real high levels of psychedelics and like built these rooms and like talked to them. That's what they did. Like their structures are like based solely for that purpose.
Yeah.
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 To communicate with the entities out there.
But the thing that blew my mind was like him basically talking about previous civilizations that had done the same thing. And then basically civilization gets to a point. It's kind of like the Matrix, you know?
Yeah.
It gets to a point to where it's just burn it all down, start it over.
Yeah, like where we're at right now.
Kind of, yeah.
And it always, at the end of every civilization, it always comes to child sacrifice. Kind of like what we do with Planned Parenthood.
Ooh. That's pretty heavy.
And all these children that supposedly disappear all the time. Looking at you, Hillary Clinton. You know what I mean? Trying to smuggle those Haitian girls out of there. You got caught.
You're going to have to elaborate on that.
We ain't got time to go into that. You need to look into that, too, when you look into George Soros.
All
Bethany
right.
can back me up on that. So, I'm just saying, the people at the tippy top, they are into some things that I can't even tell you about. You're just going to have to see it for yourself or you won't believe it.
I'll probably believe it. I mean, I've seen enough. You know? I mean,
it blew my mind.
just the Epstein stuff. But then
That's
tip of the iceberg, I know.
dude.
Or yeah. Yeah, James was wanting to do it. Y'all were talking about doing a series of music podcast or something, and James is going to listen to this, and he's going to be like, son of a bitch. Like, we're never going to get to that music stuff now.
Yeah, we will.
But
That's fun. That's a good idea. Yeah, so y'all, we got something in the works with James. Gonna do a bracket 64.
yeah,
musical
we're not going
legends.
68 or 66.
we're going old
or,
school.
Yeah, we're not going to
64 was
ruin
a-
it like college
like the
basketball
NCAA
did.
did, yeah.
Sticking-
Y'all had the
64 was the perfect number.
Yeah.
I mean, no playing games here.
If you're gonna, no, don't do that.
Yeah. But
But just making preliminary lists you see how hard it is for the committee to narrow it down to 64. Because we're going to have 4 brackets: country, rock, R&B, and rap, and then what? We're just going to hodgepodge a bracket like people that don't fit into categories.
Yeah, we talked about just the pop bracket just being people that
Pop.
just yeah.
New metal, maybe some jazz, classical, maybe just everything.
See, I'm too old school to,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that'll work itself out. I don't think when you're talking about legends, I don't think any of those trends will make it. None of the mumble rap, none of the new metal stuff.
yeah.
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot to work on there.
Yeah.
Especially when we get to, this is what's going to make it interesting. You're going to have 3 old guys and 3 young guys. You know what I mean? And there's going to be some tough decisions made there.
Yeah.
They're going to be lobbying for guys that we're like, get out of here.
I'm pretty sure
out of the room.
I'm pretty sure me and James will be standing up, pointing over across the table, like, "Shut up, you don't know."
Yeah.
Right. But not at each other, at the young guys.
Right.
So,
See, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to play mediator.
yeah. When it comes to music, I'll get. I mean, I'm
more fired up than you worry about. Them boys not repealing Obamacare.
I don't know. Thanks for pulling the trigger on that deal.
Yeah.
I had an interesting thought today.
What?
While I was cutting the grass. This will tell Dawn what I think about while I'm on the lawnmower. Could Elon Musk be the Antichrist?
Nah.
Dun, dun, dun.
He checks all the boxes, man. I'm not saying he is.
Nah, man.
Well, the Antichrist isn't going to be somebody that everybody hates.
No.
He's going to come as what everybody wants.
But nowadays, you just have to do one little thing, and everybody loves
Is it
you.
even going to be a guy?
At
Yes.
this point,
It's going to be a straight white man.
It's going to be a guy. It's going to be a dude. It's going to be a person.
I mean, he's supposed
Kidding,
to.
I don't know.
Where's
Sorry.
Elon from?
South Africa.
Okay. I thought he was European.
No.
Well, technically.
In the Antichrist supposed to be like...
Colonization. Yeah.
Isn't he supposed to be like from some Eastern European country or something like that?
I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't even think it's going to be a dude. I think it's just
How will it? Well,
I think it's what we're seeing with the technocracy. It's a anti-human. This is it. It's an anti-human movement.
right.
That I think you're already seeing it. I don't think. I mean, they might have a mascot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if anything, if it was going to be a guy, I think it'd be like a freaking Serpentor type clone because we got the technology to do it now.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah. Like
You want a charismatic leader now, just make one.
Yeah.
Hell, they probably already made him. He's probably walking around somewhere.
Who all did they get to make Serpentor?
Oh, God.
It was like Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun,
Alexander the Great. Snake Eyes, brother, Storm Shadow. Not his brother, but his BFF.
He was.
Remember, they put him in soup at the end.
Did they really?
In the comic, they did.
Okay.
I don't know if they did that for the toy sales.
I can't. Yeah. That sucks. Storm Shadow went out like that. They were like adopted brothers.
They were clan brothers.
Yeah.
But,
Well, like Snake Eyes was adopted,
back when
and he was the
cool.
better student, and that's
Yeah.
what made Storm Shadow
Right.
jealous.
Yeah. Man, we've been all over that. I can't believe we're on G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean,
We're all
well,
over the place here.
it took us a while to get here, but this is the content people signed up for.
That was, when you look at G.I. Joe, though, since we're here, I mean, you want to talk about some programming involved for the young minds of Generation X. You know what I'm saying?
They got us.
They did.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe's, it's just special forces, to defend America and freedom from a global terrorist organization determined to rule the world. How'd that whole thing go? I mean, and it's a snake. It's Cobra. It's like everybody, oh, that's bad. Snakes are bad.
Well, it was, but I mean, they gave the speech in the intro every week or every episode, every day, really, after
Joe
school.
was the code name for America's. I almost went there. Old man brain kicked
It
in.
almost came out.
It almost did.
Yeah.
What I like though is how at the end there they got into the whole reptilian conspiracy. With Cobra Law. They did. They were telling you what's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, who had heard of Globulus?
Nobody.
You know what I mean?
He's out there chilling right now. Antarctica. Him and Adolf, who's actually Cobra Commander.
That's one thing
dude, I gave him one job. I told him to take over the planet, and he couldn't even do that right. I thought you were wanting to talk about Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah, I do.
The only dude I pay attention to on.
Because, there's basically, I've been calling it Me 2.0. Because there's been this whole movement just kind of started last weekend. Just like people coming out.
Chris D'Elia?
No, I don't think D'Elia's got much to do with all this other stuff, but his
reputation's already run. He didn't do anything illegal, just scumbag stuff. But
I haven't even heard any of the details on D'Elia. But that Andrew Schultz video where he had the D'Elia shout out in it.
I didn't.
Oh
no! That was on the
that was on the White Jesus thing.
White Jesus being canceled. Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Yeah. Never realized how much Chris D'Elia looked like Jesus. He could be cast as Jesus in a movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, with some long hair.
Chris D'Elia always looked kind of creepy to me.
That would look like he hadn't showered.
Yeah. That's why I never got into him. You know what I mean? Like, I turn him videos on, I'd be like, that dude just looks weird.
Yeah.
No, there's basically. Well, no, let's talk about Dr. Disrespect because we talked about this.
It's a mystery. It's an ongoing deal.
Yeah, basically, Dr. Disrespect is one of the handful of the biggest streamers in the world right now, and you've got two 40-year-old guys sitting here talking about guys that play video games for a living.
Yeah, but he's like our dude because he's
he's funny.
He's a millennial, but he's an older one. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's getting on up there almost to Gen X status. So,
and I mean, I don't watch his streams or anything, but I've seen a lot of the younger guys have showed me videos like, "Hey, this dude's funny. Check this out," hilarious. And it's freaking funny.
It's a great character.
Yes.
It's like I was talking about earlier. He goes in so deep on character. Like he got suspended at what was it? Was it TwitchCon or some Comic Con?
Yeah, it was one of them.
It was a few years back, right? 2 years back, something like that. Yeah, he went to the recording in the bathroom.
He was. Yeah,
he was IRS streaming in character because that's what he does.
Yeah,
that's like when he cheated on his wife. I mean, that was a. He gets in so deep in character. It's like, did he cheat on his wife, or was it the doctor? You know what I mean? That's what I would have rolled with. Like, it wasn't me. It was the doctor.
Yeah. I always thought that was kind of weird because I'm like, why are you telling your viewers about any of this stuff? You know what I mean?
Because his family almost broke up over it.
Well, that's fine. Take some time and deal with and fix your own up to what you did and do what you got to do to work things out with your family.
Because he came on screen as not Doctor Disrespect. Yeah. It was like, oh, wait a minute, this is the dude?
Yeah, he was all crying and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this dude's a bitch. Get off the freaking screen. Give me the doctor. He's a Chad. He's alpha. He's everything we want to see.
Yeah. But anyway, this dude's a big deal. And Twitch is like the YouTube of the streaming community.
Yeah.
And he basically last year just signed like a 7-figure a year.
In March.
Just in March. Yeah. So this year
just feels like 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. March is like
more this year than geez. Yeah.
But he just signed like an exclusive content creator deal with Twitch.
Yeah.
That was going to pay him, over $1 million a year, according to ESPN. And then Twitch turns around and he's banned from the platform permanently.
Yeah.
So,
My son made fun of me for making a big deal out of it.
what'd he say?
Discord. My dad is a live stream fails coomer.
I don't know what any of that means.
And I sent
Nope, me neither.
I sent the appropriate meme back because Also, he got his sponsors back. Apparently, definitely a platform swap.
Is that what your son's saying?
Yeah. Did all this S to get people talking, and well, it worked. I was like, Spotify, and he was like, that's what I heard. So, I mean, it might be. I don't know though.
So when this
I don't know if
happened,
it's a publicity stunt. I mean, or it's like he's talked about David Icke about 7 minutes before he ended the stream.
do you think that was intentional to
Yeah.
push their buttons to get him kicked off
Yeah.
the platform?
Yeah.
Is it not crazy that just talking about a conspiracy theorist could get you knocked off a platform when they just valued you enough to pay you 7 figures a year?
Yeah.
Just a few months ago,
Right.
you negotiated that deal.
Well, when you have an agenda to push, you don't want people dropping hey, check this out. Boom. I'm out, So,
No, when all this happened, like I had mentioned, like the Me 2.0 deal, like I kind of thought, man, something bad. They're fixing to drop some bad info on something that he was involved with. Because I was thinking about the thing where he'd cheated on his wife and some other stuff, and and all this other stuff is going on where a lot of other people are getting in trouble, and losing sponsors and losing, like being affiliated with certain clans and groups that they're making a ton of money off of.
But then your game, like there was some Me Too stuff going on it, right?
Yeah, there was some Me Too stuff, and then that led into like a lot of these guys getting called out for doxing, swatting people. Whereas, I mean, like it's happened.
Yeah.
Swatting is basically they'll call the police and send a SWAT team to somebody's residence.
Right.
And a guy got killed over it.
Yeah.
But also, like, a lot of these people in this clan have been affiliated with like DDoSers and people that they literally go and knock you offline, which is a federal offense.
Yeah. There's been a lot of people on anonymous message boards that I visit that have taken part in the DDoS stuff and got served some time. But real quick about the swatting thing, that shouldn't even be a thing because they shouldn't be no knock warrants. Shouldn't be a freaking thing.
Right.
I just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the good things that's going to come out of all this stuff,
Our police being militarized, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some problems. I'm not saying, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you can't, I mean, I don't know.
See now, just by saying there probably needs to be some nuance to that conversation, we just pissed off the right-leaning portion of the two people that listen to this podcast.
That's yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, well, one of them was, I don't know.
A Russia bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Netherlands. That's all I can say. They just
you still increasing in audience size over there?
We get a lot of stuff from Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot, but a steady audience. It's pretty cool.
Suck over there.
Yeah, or it sucks so bad over here. They're just taking in all they can. Like, what are these?
Man, they're still.
What
idiots.
are these idiots
they're
up to now?
We're still way freer than I mean, just the simple fact that we can.
I say suck. I mean, like it's so crazy,
Yeah.
But no, that Dr. Disrespect.
I mean, y'all suck. I'm America number one.
I'm grateful for any listeners we get anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's say that up front. That Dr. Disrespect thing, though, when you started telling me about him jumping platforms, I mean, Ninja's the biggest streamer in the world. He's mainstream celebrity, kind of. Excuse me. You talked about them building platforms and this and that. But then that takes me back to the Spotify thing with Rogan.
Yeah, so you signed that contract before Joe did the... Joe Rogan's fixing to start a mass migration, I do believe, to Spotify.
Well, yeah, Joe Rogan, and the fact that they gave Joe Rogan $100 million.
$100 million.
Joe Rogan
they're obviously
and that
going to have
kind
to
of money,
stream the podcast video,
yes.
So they might as well start a streaming service.
Which, for years, people have had pretty big huge problems with the way YouTube demonetizes things.
The censorship.
Bullshit. Yeah. And it's kind of like, okay,
Spotify's been great.
We're not going to censor you. We're just not going to pay you for the content.
Right.
And while they're still getting ad revenue off of it and all that. But it looks like, for years, and we've heard it on Rogan and other places too, it's like, well, what's the alternative to YouTube? There really isn't one.
Right.
But if Spotify's getting in the game, they're big enough to compete.
I hope they do.
I do too.
I don't give money to anything, but
I'm full disclosure. I'm a Spotify
donating.
subscriber. I love Spotify.
Yeah, I'll start donating to people if they move over there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to support people that are willing to put it all online. Forget about the money.
Right.
Let's go to where we can say and do what we want to.
You know? But and I'll say this too though, like even this crap we do that, I say crap, but I love doing this, but it's a little bit of work, you know. And I think people that put out good content.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only judge of content, so what I might think is good, somebody else might think is bad, and what I think is bad, somebody else might think is good.
Yeah.
But anybody that's willing to put in the work and put themselves out there and just produce stuff, I think if there's a chance that you get monetized or you get compensated for it, then it kind of sucks that YouTube, just based on their political leanings, would just take that away from people, And it also sucks too that YouTube would verify people and partner up with them and then make them think, hey, this is a revenue stream. I'm going to benefit. I'm going to get compensated for this. But then the minute you say something that they don't like, we're not going to pay you for that.
So, I wouldn't call it political leaning. I'd call it a control element.
That's
control. That's all it is.
That's good.
These people, they have all. That's why people couldn't wrap their minds around the whole Bill Gates thing. It's like these people have all the money in the world because they control the made up money. It's a fiat system. But anyway,
right.
It's all about control.
Move the decimal point in the computer.
It's all about control. That's all this stuff's about. They want total control, So that's where the old chipping and all that stuff comes in. You need to look into George Soros.
It's unfortunately that's probably going to consume my. It's going to happen, y'all.
Yeah.
It will. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I already know quite a bit, but it's just kind of. I knew a lot about that Epstein stuff, but when I really started digging into that, I was like, "Holy crap, man! How do people just not put two and two together here?"
Right.
No, but as far as the YouTube thing, and I honestly need to go into looking at Spotify as a corporation and who owns it and who runs it, but it seems like there's obviously been compensation problems just because that streaming model has been not very good for recording artists. But I don't know. I'm glad that it looks like there's going to be an alternative out there to YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
No. What are you doing? Well, taking a picture.
You got anything else? We've we've gone from COVID to G.I. Joe to video game streamers to YouTube, back to Epstein to Soros. Talked about aliens a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed something.
Yeah.
Obamacare. You know, I went on a pretty good Obamacare rant.
You started to. Sorry I cut you off a little bit.
No, you're good. My blood pressure needed that.
Yeah, I don't want you getting too fired up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
yeah, I mean, we do have to. I get sucked into it too, though. We do have to break out of this left-right paradigm.
Yeah.
You know, and start addressing this technocracy. You know, we have a problem.
Yeah. I'm disappointed in myself because you know me, like when we talk about stuff, neither one of us is on the left or the right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so for me to try and straddle that line and find out what's best for everybody, what's best for the populace, and to see things in red versus blue. I mean, the quicker I can get over that, the quicker my outlook on things will improve, I believe.
Yeah.
So
it's hard not to do when you see one political party in general pandering to, on the surface, this movement, you know, that's going on right now. But if you pay attention real close and see the people at the local level towing party lines like Tom Cotton, it's
I'm disappointed in him.
It's like you really are just well, he's a globalist, dude. If you looking at the George Soros thing, I mean, he was at the last Bilderberg meeting in Virginia. Yeah, so I mean, he's a puppet. So
yeah,
shout out to Tom Cotton.
Yeah,
but you know the way these people, the way they just parakeet talking points it's soulless.
Yeah.
You know, it's disappointing. But
you got anything else?
No, we're getting the signal here.
Yeah, it's
just
nine.
Body language going on behind me, man. I'm getting bodied up over here.
Yeah. So,
I mean, you know, the only thing I got is, I mean, that's the reason I used to always, you know, say 9/11 was an inside job. Epstein didn't kill himself, you know, and the Ryan Johnson thing. The reason I tell him to eat corn
because he sucks.
It's because I wasn't that hard on Ryan Johnson or The Last Jedi until it came out on digital at home, and I rewatched it, and I was like, because I came out. My immediate deal was when I came out of the movie, I was like, there were things in that movie that I hated more than any other Star Wars movie I've ever seen, and there was things that, well, that was a good idea, of just poor execution.
Yeah.
But when I watched the behind the scenes after rewatching the movie, and he starts talking about subverting expectations, that subversion stuff is just like that's a key word. That's a red flag for this old boy.
Yeah.
And then I was disappointed in myself that I didn't see it in the movie the first time. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. He just derailed the whole thing. We've gone over this.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But all right, take us out.
Oh, you want me to say it?
Yeah, you got to say it, man.
All right, kids. Well, I mean, you know, remember, 9/11 was an inside job. Epstein still didn't kill himself. And you can eat corn, Ryan Johnson, you maggot.
See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Dodge That Bullet podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just search for DTB Pod or Dodge That Bullet podcast. You can also follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at DTB Pod. We also have a new YouTube channel up. Just search for DTB Pod or Dodge That Bullet podcast. And finally, if you want to check out our website, it is dtbpod@podbean.com. And if you want to send us an email for any reason, it is dtbpod@gmail.com. Once again, thank y'all so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Love you.